You're watching The Edward Fowler Show. Now, here's your host, Edward Fowler.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of my show here live on this Tuesday evening. I forgot what date was there. I know what I need to run nowadays, I have to say, but it's a pleasure having this great guest on my show because, funny enough, 15 years ago, when you were first discovered on Britain's Got Talent, that was the first time I ever watched Britain's Got Talent that particular year.
Oh,
So
really?
it was, yes, it was really, and it was a mind-blowing year. It was a great series. So many phenomenal talents came from that show in that particular year, in 2009. Just to show off my age as well, I was only 10 when that aired.
I was
So
about to say, you were probably about 5 years old or something.
so now fast forward 15 years later, I get the privilege of having this particular person on the show, and
Wow.
it gives me great honor to have on Julian Smith. Welcome to the show this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, and very privileged to be here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for accepting the invite at short notice. 'Cause I know we were going to do it a few weeks away, but then I was told, actually, can we do it tonight? I thought, yeah, why not? That's fine with
Great.
me. So thank you for accepting and all that good stuff. And sorry, just showing off my age at the beginning of the episode as well, because I'm sure it's probably flew by the past 15 years of your career.
I know that's kind of a worrying thing. I've been doing a few interviews lately, and that when I think this 15 years has gone so fast, I'm just worried because I really don't need the next 15 years to go as
No,
fast as this.
no.
How do we slow it down?
I know. That's a good question to ask to the scientists or somebody who can tell us that answer, because I would love to know that as well. Because I feel like every day is just going super quick now. Before you know it, it's like, when you go in somewhere 9 a.m. you think, oh, got plenty of time. Before you know it, it's 5 o'clock at night. Thinking, wow, I've not got much done today.
Well, you're fine. The age you are, you haven't got anything to worry about.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to hear. But I mean, was it always the dream to go on to Britain's Got Talent at the time as well, or?
No, absolutely not at all. In fact, I'll be quite honest with you. I didn't want to do it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it was my wife that sent off the form, and she originally told me about the program. She saw it the first year,
Yeah.
which was when Paul Potts was on there, and then the second year came along, and she told me, this is a good time for you to do this, and I said no, I didn't want to do any sort of those reality talent
No.
shows because I'd seen some friends of mine go on X Factor and it hadn't worked out particularly well, and I always say, if you do something completely different and music is just a hobby, if you're a painter or an electrician or a plumber or something, and you're doing music as a hobby, and then you go on one of those reality TV shows, everybody sees you, and the judges don't have any kind words to say, well, you can go back to your painting job and it's not a problem. But if you're kind of doing it professionally or even semi-professionally, and for whatever reason they don't like your performance, it's a bit difficult to go back to your gigs. They'll probably think, well, why are we having you here?
Yeah.
I haven't heard good things about you. And so that was my reason for not wanting to do it. But even though I put all those reasons for not wanting to do it forward, she sent off the form anyway. And it came back they wanted to see me. And it was actually the previous year that I went on, 2008, and I ended up being on a reserve list in case anybody didn't sign a contract or they were ill or something. They had these people ready to go. And 5 of us were on this reserve list, and 3 actually got on it, and 2 of us didn't. So I didn't make it, but from being inside the system, if you like, I thought to myself, I've kind of learned a few things, and after a long, hard think, I thought, let's give it one more go and put these things into practice that I'd learned, and that's why I gave it another go in 2009. And they never, I would have filled out the form and said I'd done it the previous year, but no one ever said anything. So I still to this day don't know whether they knew about me from the previous year.
Wow.
Like everybody else, and I did the same thing all over again.
Yeah. Well, as I say, the rest is history, because who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Did they know about you before in the previous year or not? It's all about being there and able to be perform in front of Simon Cowell and Amanda Holden and even Piers Morgan at the time. It's just mind blowing the amount of people and even Anton Deck as well, getting to hang around with them.
Yeah, yeah. So I had a good feeling this time when I did it. I don't know, like the previous time, I didn't have such a good feeling of how it was going to go. But I mean, if anybody else has been on these shows, maybe you'll feel the same as me that you kind of get some intuition and feeling that you're going to go a bit further than you know you might have.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with that. And of course, since Britain's Got Talent, this is just a backstory for people who may never heard of you before, because again, it's a multi-universe kind of show. We've got people not just in the UK, but also in America and Australia who do watch this show. So I do apologise for boring you, Julian, and for my audience, has these ridiculous, repeated long questions. So I do apologise. But in the years following Britain's Got Talent, did you ever expect to get these millions of hits on social media and on YouTube, or or were you kind of like shocked when you did receive all this great publicity?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, when I did get asked to go on, and they said they wanted to see me after I decided I didn't want to do it,
Yeah,
I thought to myself, well, if I get my face seen on TV, I might get a few more of the type of gigs that I'm doing if it goes well. And I wasn't really expecting to get as far as I did. And then when I got through to the final so easily, um, I was really that my goal was achieved, because I knew at that time, I think it happened from the first year, that all the finalists and maybe a few others got to go on this arena tour all around the country, playing in the arenas. And I thought,
that's
if
cool.
I could do that, that would be amazing. I'd never played in an arena before, so
Yeah,
my main goal was just to get to the final. And
yeah,
when I went through, even I went through as the first semi-finalist on the evening. I didn't even have to stand and find out.
no,
I was the first one through. I was just that was it for me. I wasn't really. I didn't mind about anything else, because I
yeah,
thought, well, this has done the job for me.
yeah. The goal has been ticked.
Exactly. And then it went further than I ever imagined, coming third.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and as well, you're able to, as you mentioned, perform in front of all these great arenas, and I guess that kind of prepared you of what to expect going forward as well, possibly, by having that experience of performing on those arena shows, or not.
Well, it was definitely nice. In an arena, it's kind of a different experience, and it's a bit more. I mean, you have all the in-ear monitors, and the sounds just coming in your ears, so it's a kind of a bit isolating. So you're
Yeah,
not getting actually the feeling I was imagining of that massive crowd sound and everything, because everything just was isolated in my ears. But it was definitely certainly an experience that many people were watching.
good to hear. People will want to know as well, because you're a saxophone player. This is very cool. We don't get many of those around nowadays, which is this is very good. Was there anybody who inspired you to play the saxophone, or was it just something you thought, oh, that seemed cool, I'm going to do that?
Um, when I get asked this question, there's a few people I point to. I mean, the first saxophone I ever played was called an alto saxophone, not the one that you see me playing
Yeah,
nowadays. So the alto saxophone was the first one, and a gentleman called David Sanborn. I loved his sound on that particular saxophone. And then when I started getting into tenor saxophone, was the second one. Someone introduced me to someone called Kirk Whalum. Another Americans all the time, by the way, another American saxophonist, and I thought he was amazing on that instrument. And then finally on soprano, although it wasn't the very first time I'd heard a soprano saxophone, but this was the time I really thought I want to get my hands on one of these instruments. Is when I heard Kenny G's album in about '94, I think it was. He had an album out called Breathless, and I just loved this album that he made, and I thought to myself, I want to get myself a soprano saxophone. And I would say that was probably, for soprano saxophone, Kenny G is the biggest influence to playing that instrument. Um, but I do remember, because I studied classical music at music college, I played the bassoon. Saxophone was just hovering in the background just for fun. And I remember doing a couple of performances in the Shakespeare Theatre in Stratford. and I was depping for my bassoon teacher, and someone in there had a soprano saxophone, although it was a curved one. So the curved soprano looks very much like a tiny saxophone, you know. And I remember hearing that then, but not. I didn't really pay that much attention, but I remember hearing it and loving the sound of it then. But as I say, I didn't really, because I was really concentrating on classical music and not much else. I didn't really pay much attention, but I think that was the very first time I heard one.
And when did you hear this? Was this in person or was this on the radio?
Yes. No. The very first time was I was in I say the Shakespeare Theatre. They used to have a separate room
Right.
where the musicians played. You weren't on stage, and we were all in this room, and someone else was doubling on. I think it was clarinet and different things, and he pulled out this tiny saxophone, and I was like, wow, that sounds really nice. But as I say, I wasn't at that time much into saxophones, but I just remembering I enjoyed the sound.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And then I guess the rest is history in that sense, because here you are all these years later doing it yourself and making the lovely noises, and it's very relaxing, I have to say as well. It's very smoothing. I don't know if you get that impression at first when you started playing it, or if it was quite hard to get all the tones and tunes correct, but I mean you make it look easy.
Well, everybody says about soprano saxophone, and compared to the other, we'll call it the three main ones of tenor, alto, and soprano. Everybody says it's the hardest of the three. I know the intonation to keep it in tune is certainly a bit more difficult, but for me, for some reason, I find it the easiest of the three, and I don't know whether it's because I played, the bassoon before, which is quite difficult to instrument and to keep in tune, especially, that it seemed a bit easier. I mean, I think that could be part of the reason for playing that other instrument beforehand.
Right. Very fascinating. I love it. You mentioned off air to me that you, I guess, saw the conversation I had with Mario Frangolis, a great guy. I hope you enjoyed that. Whatever you've seen of that interview, I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and hopefully I'm living up to your expectations so far.
Well, when I saw you, interviewing someone so big, I'm just a mere minnow in kind of. Wow, this guy's incredible artist. So I was just nice that I was on here too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't see why not, because you're here, you're in the UK, and I love to feature many UK artists as possible as well, and I feel like I saw the opportunity come to me. I thought, wow, I can't mess this one up. I can't miss it. I got to be a part of it. So here we are, and let's talk about it, because that leads right into this. Because right here, September the 13th, you release your new album called "Being with You." With yourself, with your saxophone there. Great picture, by the way. Looking so smart and smug, waiting for people to check it out. Tell us about this new album. What can people expect when it comes out?
Well, obviously, the soprano saxophone is the thing that holds everything together. Yeah. That's on every song, obviously. There are a couple of vocal tracks on there. We can talk about that if you want briefly.
Yeah, please do.
But there are quite a few different styles of music. It ends off with a very up-tempo Latin song track. There's some kind of, you would say, kind of crossover classical type, very easy listening melodies in there. There's even a country song, and then there's a song that was inspired a little bit by Chinese music at the beginning. Wow. And there's kind of obviously poppy sort of sounds as well. So there's a real mixture. I mean, I was a bit worried that I had all these kind of different styles, a melting pot of different styles. But I say it's all held together with my instrument, and I think it works, even though you would think the styles are a little bit different.
Yeah, and I guess maybe when you were making the album, like, having all these different genres all mixed in together, like, would that make it even harder for you to produce what you were hoping out of it? But I can see from your response there, it seems like it's worked to your advantage.
Well, yeah, I kind of do worry, because people love to pigeonhole you when you do something and say, he's a smooth jazz musician, or he's a crossover classical, or he's a whatever. So that was a bit my worry, having a few different styles in there. But I suppose you still get. I find it kind of weird if you play. I don't know if you played a violin
Yeah.
and you played, I don't know, for example, Celine Dion's theme from Titanic. You would then call that crossover classical.
Yeah.
But if you played the same thing on saxophone, people would call it smooth jazz, and I don't understand. Just because the saxophone is so synonymous with jazz music, I suppose, I think it gets a bit pigeonholed. But as I said, I mean, I kind of taught myself. I just kind of emulated people, and I just played things that I like. So, yeah, I'm just interested as to how people want to perceive it, and if they think it's one thing, that's fine. If someone thinks it's something else, that's also fine. The main thing is, that I hope that people would like it.
Yeah, I think they will, because I think people like your music because of the fact that you're able to, again, make it very different and stand outside of the normal box. You're very creative and come up with new things, and I think that's why people enjoy listening to your music, because you bring a little bit of everything to it instead of just your classical music or your classical jazz. You bring a lot of different genres together, different beats, and I think people enjoy that.
I think the main thing I like to do, and what makes me happy to play, is when there's a melody which people can get into quite quickly. It's not difficult to digest.
Yeah.
And it's when you get to the end of the song, there's still a melody that you'll sing along to. And that was when I was kind of writing the music, which was something brand new to me, which was born out of lockdown and being at home and not having the work that I was doing. I had all this time on my hands, and I thought to myself, even though I wasn't a composer, if you like, I wanted to have a go at writing music, because I had a piano that I could work on, and I just thought I'll have a go. And I always knew, because I improvise a little bit and melodies come into my head, I can sort of sing and make up melodies in my head. But what I haven't done a lot of is putting the chords around these melodies. And I always probably ask someone else or get someone else to do the whole thing. So because I had this time on my hands, I sat down at the piano and worked out what chord goes with that and how that would work. And that's how these songs came about, really. But it was really the first time I'd turned my hand to writing music.
Why not? Lockdown changed a lot of people, hasn't it? And I guess for the good, not for the bad. Got putting that out, or start spreading random rumors or hate speech here. But I feel like it's changed people for the good and testing waters. So I'm glad you've tested some waters out and you've seen that it actually does work with your genre.
I mean, I think had that not happened, then it wasn't, obviously. I mean, it wasn't a nice time, but,
No.
but to have that space and time to think, okay, well, what shall I do with this time now? Otherwise, I probably would have carried around in the circle I was, and it's hard to press the stop button and say, okay, I'm going to try and write an album now or record an album. You kind of, I'm a family man and I'm providing for my family, so it's kind of hard to decide, right, I'm going to have to take a break now to do this.
Yeah.
It was a forced break.
Or even, fact, trying to stay relevant and try to reinvent yourself as well, because sometimes when you're so busy, people just move on to the next thing or forget about you type thing. So you're able to, in that sense, have that opportunity to take a step back, review the situation, and then, I guess, reinvent yourself, which you have done.
Well, that's right. I mean, I wouldn't be talking to you here today. I wouldn't have done something new, and so I'm happy for that. It's a good idea to always do new things, but it's not, in life, it's not always easy to do that when you have a job and there's bills to pay, and you can't always write, I'm going to put some time aside now and stop that, because it's not always that easy. So, that was one thing I have to say I was thankful for.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the question which most people want to know now is, once this new album comes out, what will be next for you?
Well, this is the first time I've had anything on, the new way that people listen to music on the platforms, streaming platforms. So it's going to be a case of, let's put it out there. Let's see if people buy into it and see how it goes. And obviously, if people do start to like it, I'll start to arrange performances. I mean, I have just one small performance just the night before it comes out. It comes out on the 13th, and on the 12th of September. Just some friends of mine have an Italian restaurant in Birmingham in the mailbox, Lucarelli's. It's called. Wonderful food and outstanding staff. And I thought that this would be a nice place to kind of just put my toe in the water, start playing this new music to people live. So on the night before it comes out, I'm doing a launch gig at Lucarelli's in the mailbox. If anybody, any of your listeners want to come and kind of almost hear me playing this live for the first time, if you like. So that will be the first toe in the water. And then I would very much like, we go back again to Britain's Got Talent as well as the arena tour. After that, maybe a year or so, I was doing my own theatre tour, but obviously playing cover songs, obviously the songs that I played on Britain's Got Talent, but people came to the theatre to see me, and it was very nice. So my dream at the moment, if I could get back into doing that sort of thing, but people coming to see my music that I'd written myself amongst other people's music, that would be my next goal. And also I forgot to mention that on this album there's a Turkish track, and it's got a Turkish vocalist on there who was actually represented Turkey in Eurovision some years ago.
Wow.
And also a very legendary bass player who agreed to play on the song. So that's another thing that I might get into doing. Is my wife is Turkish, and that's the whole reason the song came about, really. So yeah, it might be that I end up going to Turkey a little bit and spreading my wings.
Yeah, maybe even do a music video from Turkey then as well. Is that something?
Actually, it's funny you should say that. I already, because I've revamped this song a little bit. Originally, it was all instrumental, and then I managed just by asking the original bass player of the song whether he'd play on it, and he did. And then we got her name is Sibel Tuzanon to sing a vocal on there. But I have my original video of the song, which was filmed in an amphitheater and in around the old town of Side in Turkey, and it was a funny story that I recorded this song, and then I got someone arranged to make a video, but this person hadn't asked permission at the places that we were going to film. And we got to this ancient theatre, and we started getting all the recording equipment out, and somebody rushed over to us who was obviously looking after the place and said, no, you're not allowed to do any filming here, I'm sorry about that.
Oh.
And it was a big disappointment, I'd flown there.
You come all this way to shoot this scene, and you can't shoot it.
I know, and I said to this guy, "What's going on here? I thought you would have got permission already." And he said, "No, I just expected it would be okay." And he started talking to him and said, my friends come to make this video, and he plays saxophone. And as soon as he heard the word saxophone, this guy's eyes opened up. He said, "I love the saxophone." He said, "I don't suppose you, by any chance, could play the love theme from The Godfather, could you?" And it just happened to be one of the songs that I did have in my repertoire.
That's
so
okay.
I opened up my case as quick as I could and started with da 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 da. I played the love theme from The Godfather, and he just stood there, listened to me in silence. And then when I finished, he said, "The place is yours to do with what you wish."
Oh, perfect.
If you go into my YouTube channel, you can see that video that is filmed in Turkey. So,
well, speaking of that, then let's plug yourself, because we like to do that on this channel as well. So, of course, you can find my guests on Facebook, Instagram. Of course, on Facebook, Julian Smith Sax. You gotta put that in, and it will come up with Julian's page. Also on Instagram, I'm Fred's Julian Spencer Smith, and then on YouTube, it's what is on YouTube for people to search, and of course on all streaming platforms as well. Make sure you plug all those as well.
Not till September the 13th, but that'll soon be here.
Soon be here, but your YouTube channel is called?
My YouTube channel, Julian Smith Saxophone. I'm terrible with this sort of thing.
You're fine. We forgive you.
I'm just, because I've got different ones, and you forget what they're actually called.
Yes.
Julian Smith Sax Official.
Love it.
And you can go there. And also my latest video for the first single, which we're calling it, as a single. It's the first single off the album, if you like, because it's got a bit of a nice hook vocal, and it's called Turn Back the Time. And I've already put that music video up there, so you can already hear that song in its entirety on Julian Smith Sax official website.
Yep, which I just posted on here because we just got that here. I'm liking the image you've used for this, the Julian Smith Turn Back the Time. I believe, from what I've been told, it comes out on release on the 13th of September as well, 2024.
That's correct. Yeah.
So, but I'm liking the picture you use. That very laid back. I like it. It's like you're just chilling.
Which picture is that one, sorry?
It's a picture of you with some sunglasses on, with a cap, sat down with your saxophone. It's like you're just chilling. But that's the picture I've been given to use to promote. So
yes, that's the back cover of the album too. Yeah. Oh no, it's from the same photo shoot, but I know it's got a blue cap on it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's blue. I think it's maybe black, maybe dark blue, black. It looks like to me. But you wear like a blue kind of like jacket.
But I'm wearing denim, right? Denim.
Yeah,
denim.
that's it.
Yeah.
There we go. Go get that right. Don't get any mispronunciation on that. But you can see the video right now on Julian's YouTube channel. You get a bit of a taser of what to expect, a bit of a teaser of what to come in September. I can't wait for. And as well, you're still in Birmingham, aren't you, at the moment?
I'm what, sorry?
You're still in Birmingham, aren't you, at the moment?
I'm playing.
Yeah, well, right now you're doing it from Birmingham, aren't you?
Oh yes, I'm speaking to you from Birmingham.
Yes.
Yes, I live south of Birmingham.
Yes. Brummie land. I like how we got a Brummie and a Mancunian speaking together this evening. I love it.
I've been here kind of in and around this area most of my life.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing as well, because you've been to Manchester, I'm sure, and you know, whenever you get to go to a different city or town for the first time, like, what do you do? Do you go to any tourist sites? Do you just do a bit of shopping, or do you just stay in your hotel all day preparing for your show and then just leave and go to perform and then move on to the next town?
Well, to be honest, a lot of my performing I jump on a cruise ship.
Oh, very good.
It could be anywhere in the world, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I've flown there, and they invariably have a band on, and we just have a
blast
and do the show. So yeah, it's not, these days it's normally a case of flying somewhere and checking out different places around the world, which is really nice. And again, I have to thank Britain's Got Talent for that, because when I did that theatre tour, I think I was in Blackpool.
Yeah.
Theatre in Blackpool. Is it called the Grand or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. You think you're right there, yeah.
Yeah, a lady came up to me and said, would you be interested in performing on cruise ships? And I always had the impression that anybody that performed on a cruise ship would have to be away for a long period of time. And I said, no, I can't do that. I've got, family and stuff. And she said, no, you don't have to go away for a long period. You can be what's called a guest entertainer and go on there and just be on for, under a week perhaps. And I said, that doesn't sound so bad. So I started doing that. I mean, it's about 12 years ago now, and it's the reason I brought us to this is because I hadn't really done a great deal of traveling in my life, and I was always kicking myself, and I wish I could go to other places around the world, but it's expensive to do that, isn't it? And
yeah,
I wish I could do that playing my instrument. And then all of a sudden this opportunity arose, and yeah, I still do it to this day. I'm off. Actually, not so far away. I'm going off on Friday to Scotland to jump
very
on.
good.
Jump on a ship, but it's normally a bit further afield. So this is quite local.
Yeah, that was quite good. That and when you do go on a cruise ship to go, to some of a place where you're performing, do you get a chance to explore that place before heading home, or do you just get off at it and just leave, or?
I mean, normally, because just to be safer than sorry, more than often they'll get you there the night before a ship might arrive to any port. So you'll stay in a hotel the night before, and if it's not too late, obviously that's a nice time to check out, and then check out the place. And
yeah.
And when you're on there, obviously there's port days, and I would only play once or twice in the evening perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when it comes to a port day, just like everyone else, you get to explore and see these different places, and I've definitely been to places which I wouldn't have ordinarily been to.
That's good. And got to say then, before we wrap this up, I got to say that is a particular place you've been to which you would love to go back to again, if the opportunity arises?
Well, this wasn't from being on a cruise ship.
Okay.
One of the nice a nice event came to me shortly after coming off Britain's Got Talent, and it was to go and play in Monaco, and I felt very poor and not very attractive in this place. Very, very glamorous and rich people, but I do have very nice memories of. I think I stayed in a hotel called Hotel de Paris or something like that. It was very, very, very beautiful place, and I wouldn't mind going back there one day because it was very taking it all in. Well, it was like one of the early days of these private events which came in after the show, and it was a bit of a whirlwind. And I'd like to go back there and look at it with a bit more time and patience.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I hope you do. And apologies for any noise you may have heard then. I don't know what my guest was doing while I was talking there, but we had a lot of crunching behind when you moved your hand. So don't know what you did there, but hopefully you heard what my guest said there on that. But I got to mention as well, why did you, if you don't mind me asking out of curiosity, why did you choose this particular room to join the show from? I'm just intrigued because we can see a picture behind you. I think on your left. I do like it. And what does that picture represent for you?
Right now, I'm just literally in my lounge.
Oh, in your lounge. Okay. It looks like it looks like a recording studio. You're recording like your home recording studio or something. It looks very niche. I like it.
I've tried to make it look as neat as possible.
Yes, it does. It's very niche. I thought it was your recording studio or something like that. Yeah, your home studio.
This little area of the lounge, I've actually got my laptop sitting on a digital piano here, where myself and my daughter and my son play the piano. And you mentioned
lovely.
What's on the wall there.
Yes.
And what I've got is that is a certificate from my daughter's exam. 1 second, I'm just going to see.
Oh, right.
Yes, that's one of her theory exams, and I've got practical exams.
Love it.
Up there, so yeah, they're following in the footsteps of doing music, playing pianos.
I love that. Able to show off success and achievement. I love that, and no, I'm just intrigued, and it's perfect. It's perfect, and I thought that was your studio where you maybe come up with ideas and such for your next music. But I mean, somebody wants to know as well, like what. Well, not really what, but where do you get your ideas from? Do they just come to your head, or do you have to do some research, or do they just come to you wherever you go, or?
You mean the songs that have come out, you mean?
No, I mean like for whenever you get ideas for possible songs to do with yours, with any vocals or even just for your instrumentals, how do they come to you? Do they just come to you via in this lounge, or do they come to you wherever you may be, or did they come to you at 6 o'clock in the morning?
Well, literally, what I did with this album, as I say, I've only ever gone to music college and studied performance, and I never, I had to do some theory, obviously, so I've got, an idea of things. but I knew I could, melodies sometimes, I start off and I'll start singing a melody, and it'll just kind of come into my head, really. And this is what although this is my lounge,
yes,
I'm sitting at the piano where it all happens, really. And, these melodies come into my head, and the first thing I'll do, I'll go onto my voice notes on my iPhone, and I'll kind of put it down very basically, and it just works. But from the melody side, I mean, as soon as you play 2 notes on a piano, you've got the start of a melody. And if I play 2 notes, and then I'll kind of sing in my head what could come next.
I like it.
It just kind of goes from there, really.
I love that. Good. I was just intrigued. I like to ask different questions to musicians of how they get their creative ideas. So that's good. That's good. Is there anyone you would love to collab with in the future?
Well, it's always nice to do collaborations with, possibly singers.
Yes.
But we didn't get to talk about it, that I sang a couple of songs on this album, and we could have got some guest singers in, but this way was cheaper.
Well, I personally just asked for the person who's promoting it, so that's yourself. But maybe if we have a number two, we should definitely have some backup singers, if you like.
So yeah. I mean, I haven't thought because I've just concentrated. I mean, I think one of the reasons, obviously, when you do a live gig and you've got, say, loads of different guests on an album, it's hard to coordinate all of those people. So this was an easier way. But you've asked me the question now, who would I like to do in the future? But I haven't given that any thought right now because I'm just concentrating on this project. But I'm thinking of anybody that would. I haven't got anybody that is in my mind at the moment. What I need to do is open my new project book, and maybe that would be a collaborations book, and then that will give me ideas. But you've asked me a question now, which I can't just fire off someone at this second and say, well, I'd love to do something with them. But
Yeah.
I mean, this might be a bit weird.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind doing something with a rap artist.
Why not? Why not? That'd be a first. I think it'd be a first, wouldn't it? I think, and that'd be totally outside the box in a good way.
Something a bit different.
Yeah, I think that will work. I think it will work out. I can't wait to find out who that rap artist will be, however. But hopefully you hear a future teaser here, and hopefully it might lead to something now. Hopefully.
What was that? I guess, sorry, Edward, I missed that.
I was just saying, hopefully this will lead to something now, into a future project for yourself. I might give you a new idea, a new way to reinvent yourself.
That's it. As soon as it gets out there, you never know who might come knock on the door, and also, I have to probably also not wait for people to come to me. I have to ask the question if some name comes up. I must just ask because you never know. And that's what happened with the Turkish song.
Yeah.
I mean, the bass player who was on there is an absolute legend in Turkey. His name is Ahmet Güvenç, and he is the original bass player for this song. The actual artist Boris Manço has since passed, but he's really legendary in that country. And we just messaged him on Instagram and sent him the song, and we said, you wouldn't possibly play on this, would you? And he, the most generous man in the world, said, "Oh, I'd love to do that."
Oh, I love it.
So the thing is, you don't know until you ask. So
Exactly.
I should do more of that. I haven't really done a lot of that in the past. So yeah, you don't know until you ask the question.
And you were asking me about, having Mario Frangolis on my show. All I
Yes.
did was I reached out to the person who he was, doing his PR, and I didn't think they would actually have him on the show because my show is only a small, tiny show, but they were like, why not? So then that happened, and now he, I believe he still follows me on Instagram as well. But I would love to have him back on the show because the thing is I would love to discuss with him, and he actually helped me to get on another great vocalist as well, called George. I can't remember his last name now, but he's on my channel, George somebody, also from Greece as well, and he's done a lot of work with the I think it's off-cam, yeah. So he's done a lot of great work, but he was a wonderful one as well, just like yourself tonight. And before we let you go, we got to mention that, of course, the new album, Being With You, comes out on September the 13th. Be there or you can be squared. Now, you mentioned about it being available on all streaming platforms. Will this also be available on vinyl? Because I know vinyl's back in the business now, isn't it?
Thank you for reminding me. Yes. Well, we have the CDs already available from the Right Recordings website. And the vinyls are literally due. I think it's called test pressings. They come as a test pressing. Check that they're all okay.
Yeah.
And they're coming just at the end of this week or early next week.
How exciting.
So very shortly after that, I mean, it's quite a funny thing for me because that's how I first started buying my music, was on vinyl. And then the first recording I ever made was on a tape.
Oh wow, yes, I remember them tapes, yes.
But then it was obviously CD. But I've never had anything on vinyl. So yeah, it was only a couple of months back when I heard that we're going to go for vinyls that I had to buy another vinyl player.
Good.
And then I started digging out all my old vinyl that I got in the loft, which I hadn't seen for such a long time, and it was really funny going back over those.
Well, I wouldn't say they're old; they're retro or they're vintage. there's more great words to use is just saying, "Oh yeah, they're old." You know, that's going to show off your age. That's going to show off your age.
Vintage, retro, all those things. I even found when I
back in the day.
Yeah. Do They Know It's Christmas? The original mandate. I found that. And anyway, so I have a vinyl player now. So it's going to be quite a moment to be able to put my music onto a vinyl player and hear it come through in that format.
I bet it'll be spooky when you first hear it, but I bet you're also excited to see what it will look like on vinyl, and I hope that you will share it on your social media, because I would love to see it now. You've got me excited, and I'm sure people will be enjoying it, because who'd have thought that in the 21st century, because I remember hearing about many years ago that vinyls would never come back. You know, that was back for the 80s or whatever, or the 70s. Now it's all about streaming, but all of a sudden vinyls are taking off again. Tapes, those tapes you're on about, they're coming back. Even apparently VHS is on the rise again. Can you believe that? Good old VHS. Yeah, it's all coming back into fashion. People can't get rid of them. You know, it's part of our history.
Goodness, well, I did go into HMV not so long ago, and I couldn't believe how many vinyls there were, and they were selling all the vinyl players.
Wow.
And that's where I got my vinyl player from. It's shocking.
Crazy.
And then, as I say, I went into the loft, and actually my mom had left lots of vinyls for me. When I say left, she's still around, by the way.
Of course.
She gave it to me, and I played some Beatles songs. She was really into the Beatles, and I made a little video of playing. This is one of the Beatles songs, one of her original Beatles singles, and I sent her a little video, and she was like, took her back to the time. You know.
Good. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on the show this evening. Hopefully, I've not wasted your night by asking you probably the same questions you get asked on every interview at the moment, but hopefully, it's been a joy.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Edward.
You're welcome. One last question. However, for you, again, you might not be able to give me an answer there, because you seem a bit stumped on a previous answer.
On the last one.
so you might not be able to give me an answer, which is completely fine. But who would you suggest I should have on the show?
A suggestion for you to have on the show?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're going to reach out to someone if I give you the suggestion?
Yes, that's the plan, hopefully. If I can get in contact with them, yes, I will.
Okay. I tell you what. I did a radio interview today.
You did. I saw that. Well, I've not watched it, but I've seen that you posted about it.
On BBC Kent.
Yeah.
And following me was coming on an artist from the 80s called Howard Jones.
Okay.
Now, when I was at school, it was either me and one of my good friends. He was into Duran Duran.
Yeah.
And I was into Howard Jones. And it was kind of ironic that this guy was following me up on this interview.
It should be the real bound, shouldn't it, really? But obviously, he didn't know how to, I guess, proceed after you. Maybe you were like the high standard, and like, how am I going to follow this act?
It sounds like you're not going to get Howard Jones on your show. You want
because you've set the bar high. Is that what it is?
Let me go bigger. Let me go bigger.
I will try to reach out to him, by the way. So thank you for that suggestion.
You could reach out to Duran Duran. I'm going back to my.
Funny enough, you used to say Duran Duran. I have tried to reach out to Duran Duran, but so far I've had no response.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, because they've been quite active this year as well, like yourself. So
we want someone a bit more current, don't we?
Yeah. Well, if you think of anyone, let me know. I will, and I'll try my best to reach out to them to get them on the show.
So you're doing this for me? That's really kind.
Yes, no, I do. I ask most of my guests this question just to see who they think. Because sometimes I reach out to loads of people and only get a few responses. So it's always good to hear what other people who I have on the show think I should have on. So I'm always open to suggestions.
Do you have you have all sorts of people, like classical, any sort of music on there?
Yeah, any kind of music I'm into. Well, I guess I am into, yes, because we like to bring on as many different people as possible. It doesn't matter the genre. It doesn't matter if they're... I'll tell you one thing. I've had singers. I've had MMA fighters. I've had boxers. I've had comedians. I've had magicians. I'm pretty much... It's a variety show for talking.
So it's just an open book. I thought I was restricting myself to to musicians.
No, it's open to anybody, Julian. If that helps you, by the way. But I'll tell you one thing I've not had on before is chefs. I'm interested.
chef?
Yeah, I'm interested in having chefs on the show, but so far I've not been able to gain anybody on.
I would say Gordon Ramsay, but you probably have to bleep him out.
Yes, I think you might break my record for the most bleeps in history, probably.
Oh, okay. Edward, I'm going to come back to you.
You can. That's absolutely fine. I did say you might not have an answer to me right now, so that's completely fine. But I hope, however, that I've lived up to your expectations from what you saw from my other interview you may have saw of me. Did you just check out the Mario Fangolis, or did you check out any others, or you thought that was enough? One was enough?
No, that was just, I haven't checked out to many, but I will do from now, and
Okay.
see how I fared.
Well, I'm sure you'll fare fine. And on that note, I want to say thank you again to my guest tonight, Julian Smith. Thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck with your new album. I'm sure it's going to be, I'm sure as the people on the street will say, it's lit. And it's going to be fantastic, available on all platforms, including vinyl and CDs as well. So we can't wait to see what the feedback is for you. And I hope you'll come back on the show again to discuss that and anything else you may be working on.
I would love to.
Cool.
You let me know when you want. I'll be here.
Perfect. I look forward to that. I'll reach out to you, but definitely. And if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to smash that like button, share the video around, tell everybody about Julian Smith, tell him why you should check out his sax music, and not just that, but also his vocals music, as well as his new album coming out on September the 13th as well, because you can be there or you can be squared, and you will miss out on a truly great album which will go hopefully to many more people on a wider scale and reach people not only in the UK but hopefully around the world to boost Julian Smith up in the ranks of the algorithms and make him one of the best new debut albums out there of this year. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more of my videos, why not? Then you should, because it's the best kept secret here on YouTube with over 257 subscribers. You should click that subscribe button right now and help me to get to 260 subscribers if you enjoyed the content you've seen here tonight. And until the next episode, whenever that will be, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon or evening.